BTC at 79K after a pumper yesterday, but can the market sustain it? Can we actually hold what is going on with the news? So today, guys, I'm looking at a couple of things here. One of them is a bullish signal we're seeing on a daily time frame for BTC. That could take a little time to play out, but we are talking about that today. And then I've got tons of altcoin setups for you. I've got longs, I've got shorts, and we're talking about Trump and the Chinese tariffs again. Okay, let's get right into this. And remember, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. And James is in the house. James is in the house. He was bearish yesterday. We're dealing with that. We're dealing with that decisively just now. But he's bearish again, and I think rightly so. There could be some more spice coming for you guys. Let's look at Banter Bubbles, because this thing is not bearish at the moment. This thing is looking hell of a bullish. If you just woke up now and you turned this on, you'd be saying, "Fuck me, this thing is looking good." But in terms of what's going on at the moment, some of these alts are actually busy turning over. So there's a couple of shorts in play, and Hacker's got a Tao short from me earlier today. Perhaps that is going to play out, but we're going to look at a lot for you today. If we are getting a bullish pullback here, well, the entries are coming and you're in the right place. So we're going to make sure you guys are sorted out. Let's get into BTC. Crypto Genie says inflation is down, should be more rate cuts, market dumps. So dumb. I concur, bro. I concur. I love that. He's like, it's so dumb. Yeah, guys, I mean, CPI, we're dealing with it now in the news. CPI came out super bullish, but there's this Chinese thing hanging over everybody's heads at the moment. But if that gets sorted out, I think we might be okay. Trump pump effect. Okay, let's go. Let's talk BTC and giving up pretty much all the gains from yesterday so far. So hopefully some of you guys TP'd. I TP'd that link. I TP'd that Tesla yesterday evening late as well, and took some profits there. I think I fumbled a couple of shorts. I could have done this a lot better, and I was actually complaining to James that I was sitting in a Sol short earlier, and I actually closed that. I think I fumbled that a little bit, but let's see how we go. So Bitcoin right now, as we are speaking, it is reacting on a VWAP. Look at that. We got our VWAP reaction right now at 79,300. So that is an interesting one for us. But if I've got to pull an interesting zone, guys, for me, it's got to be the 78K. This is the one that is interesting to me. It's a 618. I've got horizontal tie in here as well for you guys. So 78K is starting to make a little bit of sense for me for putting the brakes on there, maybe a little wick below, but somewhere in that region is making sense. And then I'm not going to look much lower other than these lows. So the 74,400. Now, basically I'm making an assessment here and saying, look, a lot of these oscillators are still talking higher lows. So I'm looking for these things to hold the lows. Obviously, we're very market dependent and market weighted at the moment, for news and things. And it's kind of dictating things where it shouldn't really be. But 74,400 for me, that's the low that I've got my eyes on there at the moment. Now, in terms of upside, you can see we've rejected at a typical 618. This has happened across the board to altcoins. If you were trading alts yesterday and you start pulling fibs, you're going to see probably 80% of them hit 618. Some of them maybe 382s, but 618s came into play, BTC and alts, and that high is 83,180. So watching that zone as our big resistance band, and then slightly lower down, guys, upside marker here, 81,370. So that's kind of where I want to play ping pong now in the next 24 hours. These are the reaction zones that are interesting to me. So I suspect we're going to get longs on alts. If Bitcoin bounces at that 78, I suspect we're going to get longs on 𝗏𝗏 today, Solana today, and quite a few others. So we're going to be watching this one very closely over the next hour or so. Okay, let's get into some of the action now. You'd only understand what you're looking at if you are like my age. If you are over, say, 35 years old, then you'd know exactly what is going on here. But Trump basically rebooted the bull market there. He took it out. He just blew on that Sega cartridge and he slapped it straight back in. And now, don't tell me if you're over 35, you don't know exactly what he's doing over there. Now, yesterday, there were a couple of things that I was telling you, and I hope you guys enjoyed that pump, because I certainly enjoyed that pump. And yesterday we saw the fear and greed index was sub 20. Okay, it was absolute filth yesterday on the Bitcoin fear and greed index. The stock market fear and greed index was around 4 or 5 yesterday. And I just want to recap where we were yesterday. I want to play this for you. It's important that we recap sometimes. we now have rapidly rising long-term interest rates. We saw the 10-year spike.
Can you hear, James?
We saw the 30-year spike as well. GDP set to decline for multiple quarters. Inflation data back on the rise. Largest wave of tariffs in 100 years. Not bad. Consumer sentiment at pandemic levels. Not bad. Stock market in a bear market. Not bad. Okay, so it sounds bullish to me. I don't know why James is getting bearish on support. You're getting bearish at literally sentiment lows here. Okay, what does the Fed even do here? Now, if you're an economist, you might have some kind of idea. But remember, all those guys up there, they don't know what to do. Okay, the stuff is getting broken here at the moment, and you can see it. Bitcoin extreme fear and greed 18. This is a buy zone for me. Okay, call it whatever you want. 18 sub 20 on fear and greed index is a buy zone, at least in terms of spot. Okay, if you're not considering starting to buy in these levels, and I'm talking everything, if you're not even considering
done waving my balls around here. Okay, no, I just wanted to share with you guys, and this is an important lesson for you guys out there. When you are feeling your most fearful, these are generally the times where you should be sniffing around looking for these things. And if you didn't get in when you were super fearful yesterday, remember this for next time, because there's going to be multiple opportunities in your trading journey where you're going to feel terribly scared. And that is probably where you're going to need to start pushing buttons. And also the converse is true. When you're feeling way too euphoric, when things are feeling way too pumpy for you, and you're feeling like you're the best trader in the world, it's time to maybe start exiting. So just a timely reminder for those of you, that are getting into this stuff. Okay, so when you're super scared, like you got to start looking. The market tends to throw a couple of things at you. James, look at the new numbers. 500 billion.
Yeah, Trump said to buy. We should have listened to that, right? Because outside of that Trump announcement, we would have done nothing. That's the only reason we went up, which is why I was bearish, and which is why I'm still bearish today. We had a little pump.
We went up because the charts said we were going to go up.
If Trump did not come up with that pause, we would have gone nowhere.
The charts
can tell you all they want. No.
Okay, 500 billion liquidations. That's a nice number. Okay, $530 billion liquidated in the last 24 hours. Okay, so the numbers are coming up, and that's exactly what they're doing here. The market makers love this stuff. They pump it up. Now there's late longers yesterday. Okay, so those that were a little bit fearful to buy, then suddenly saw the pump. They started laddering in long. The FOMO came in, and now they're getting flushed out to the downside. So market makers just chewing this up at the moment. 530 billion in liquidations, and I mean, this is basically the best way to look at it. That was me on the right in some of my shorts.
That was all the shorts that got squeezed yesterday. Massive squeeze.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, so those of you that made some money yesterday, congrats. We hit some banger trades yesterday. Chart Hackers got a couple of nice longs from me. You guys got a couple of nice longs yesterday. So let's talk about the news. Now, why is it so annoying that CPI comes out bullish today and it beats expectations, unemployment meets expectations, and what happens? Nothing. Okay, the market is actually selling off at the moment. So that is, that's pretty interesting that headline or that is happening now. Trump's coming out, he's saying, well, inflation is down. I mean, you know what that means. He wants rate cuts, okay? And now he's trying to get the Supreme Court to check if he can fire 𝗙𝗆𝗆𝗆 at the moment. So, yeah, I mean...
Not sure how that works out as an independent agency. It's not even part of the government, right? Trump has zero jurisdiction. If they can come up with some lawfare to fix this will be amazing to see.
Sure. Well, there you go. He's putting pressure wherever he can. Okay, now this is what happened yesterday. 𝗙𝗆𝗆𝗃 letter. They're saying now that the market is up 10%, it's not exactly clear what this 90-day pause even means. Okay, 90-day pause of all tariffs. Okay, 90-day pause of 10%, the baseline tariff, and reduction of reciprocal tariffs to 10%. 90-day reduction of reciprocal tariffs to 10%. All other blah 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 blah. Okay, it's a lot. Nobody actually knows what is going on here. But do markets even know what they are rallying on? What were they pumping on? So basically for me, the sentiment was that now there's going to be negotiations. So there's going to be deals, which means most of those tariffs for the countries that want to relent are actually going to come out much lower. Okay, so that is going to sort out. So for me, that pump was about pricing in all of that news. Obviously, they were also looking at the Chinese situation. And, we're going to talk about the Chinese now. But basically, basically, Uncle Donald came in hot. He saved the day. And I think there was obviously external pressure on him as well to do a couple of these things. Now, the Chinese, okay, they're not interested in countermeasures here and fighting. And I mean, they are interested in fighting. He's saying we must solemnly tell the US that a tariff-wielding barbarian who attempts to force countries to call and beg for mercy can never expect that call from China. Now, this was after yesterday where there were notes floating around that they were going to have some kind of discussions. Okay, now things have stepped up a little bit. US tariffs on China are now at 145%. Okay, Temu's getting expensive there.
Very. There's extra tariffs on Temu specifically.
No, it's getting
above
rough.
and beyond this. Yeah.
And here is President Xi. I don't know if this is actually a picture. I thought this might have been. Maybe his friends took it of him, but there he is dreaming of Biden there. We need Biden back now. Everybody, it's funny. Everybody is missing Biden at the moment. Now, okay, let's get into the pumpage. Let's get into the good stuff here. And let's just enjoy some of these moments that we had. So the Dow Jones broke records yesterday. 3,000 points up for the first time in history. That is a mega pump there. And things are looking really good from that front. And obviously, there were so many bears out there. They were squeezing all those shorters pretty hard. And Ryan Dietrich says, wow, this is interesting. 23 times the S&P has gained at least 5% in a day. What happens next? The next day and a week out, there's fairly weak returns. Okay, so this is an interesting stature for us. So we can see the markets are falling over and they are obviously digesting things. And you know what we're kind of looking for here is just going to be some kind of higher low or bullish pullback on a lot of these things. So this is a typical result to have a little bit of downside the next day and fairly weak returns. Okay, so we can't be surprised if there is a bit of a sell-off and some profit taking. Now, in terms of the S&P, this is the S&P on the weekly, and this is still in my dead cat bounce country. And what I did explain the other day, that something that's very interesting, and we can see it time and time again, is when you are getting a death cross in the markets. What is a death cross? It's when your 50-day MA starts crossing below the 200-day moving average. When you are getting a death cross, quite often you see the market pump into a death cross. Okay, so if you're wondering why I was leaning bullish yesterday, everyone was shit scared. Number two, we've seen that you can pump into death cross and things like that. Things were at such extremely oversold levels. Everyone was shorting on support. It was like inevitable that we were going to get some kind of squeeze up. Obviously, the news helped even more. I mean, they really pumped it hard. But in terms of what we were looking for, a dead cat bounce, a squeeze into the death cross. And you guys remember this because it's going to happen again over the next 4 years or whatever. You're going to see these death crosses and you're going to be able to remember what happens into a death cross. Now, in terms of the S&P, what happens next? Well, we can see big horizontal resistance here, 5,700. That is the zone. Okay, so that is a big danger zone there for us to the upside. So if there is a pause for a couple of days here and then we start grinding higher, that's going to be your higher low. And that is the one that I'm going to be watching very closely there in terms of all markets. We'll have to see where they are. And then in terms of support, we're just going to watch the current low, 4,800. I'm not ready to push buttons yet. I actually really expected somewhere down there, okay, at some point, this 4,600. But we might have to wait another couple of weeks there, James. We might get it again. Okay, let's go Tesla. That was an absolute banger trade yesterday. I really hope some of you guys took that with me on BTCC. Remember, BTCC, we're running a stock trading competition right now for my community. So if you join BTCC, you can trade these stocks with me and you can participate in the competition. But Tesla, 23% up, the biggest gain in 12 years, second biggest gain in history. That's a proper mover there. And I mean, it was an absolute banger, this thing. And look what happens. It pumps into the death cross. Look at that. We've got a death cross forming on Tesla at the moment, and we're getting a pump into the death cross. Now, where did we pump from? Just some general nice macro support here for us at this 212 zone. So what's the next play now for Tesla? What do we do next? So we can see this was a typical resistance zone, 271. That's our resistance area. If we do push higher, I do have a high conviction short floating around this 320 region. The reason being, that's quite a big zone for me. Nice horizontals, VWAP action as well. But you can see this current region at 288 is already giving you quite big problems there for Tesla. So 288's the big one to the upside, and call it 320, the other big one to the upside. Now, where's our next long? Where's our next trade? Well, it's an interesting one because we've still got this bullish divergence, which is now printed on the 8-hour as well. So this is telling us that we may potentially want to go higher on this Tesla. They might not be done just yet. So in terms of like a mega dump here, I'd say 213 up to about 230. We can look for longs again, and let's see how that unfolds over the next couple of days. So call it 230, 232 to 213. We're going to look for that bounce again. Okay, so just be patient. Let it play out. There's no fresh Tesla trade for me here just yet. Okay, remember, guys, all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show for you, okay, including all these stocks. I've got my own stock section now for you guys. And Chris says China is fishing for economic, what did he say there? I missed the rest of that comment. Oh, they're fishing for economic allies right now. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, of course. And what was the next one? Wyckoff accumulation on many else. Yeah, Jimmy, that is in play for sure. Okay, let's go NVIDIA. This was also a massive pumper yesterday, and I just want to point out we do have a double bottom in the oscillator here. This thing is also looking quite bullish at the moment. So in terms of game plans on NVIDIA, no fresh trades for me. Remember, I'm watching the dailies on these stocks. So I'm looking for nice, big, juicy areas where we can catch moves. I'm not looking for small little plays just yet. So in terms of zones for me, where do I want to short this thing? Anything from 120 to 128. Mark this on your chart. Set your alarms. Do what you need to do here. In fact, I'm going to stick my alarm on here in the middle there. And so 120 to 128, that's a big short zone for me. Okay, you can see that death cross has already happened, and we pumped into that death cross, interestingly. So, and Zen says death cat bounce. Yeah, it could be a death cat. So to 120 to 128, guys, that's the short zone on NVIDIA. Other than that, I'm just going to wait patiently. Let's see. Remember, we want a big move down or we want a big move up, and that generally triggers those big hot zones for us that give us the action we want. MJ, he says, let's go. He's in the house. Yes, sir. I've seen this man in the chats. Now we know what he looks like. Okay. Okay, guys. So remember, BTCC, jump in here. Everything I talk about is in the show description. So just go under the show. There it is. You'll find it all for you. BTCC, LBank, WeX, all my exchanges, everything we're using, everything I discuss here is sitting under the show description for you. So just click on more. You'll find it all waiting nicely for you. So those of you that saw my tile and said, hang on, this guy was calling, what were we saying yesterday? We were talking about big downside levels, and we're still the same. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bullish indicator. It may or may not play out, and I'm just going to give you my view. So I dropped this on Twitter earlier today, and I said I'm remaining cautious with longs here, okay, until we see big changes on the political side and we see reclaims of massive levels. Until then, we're viewing this as a dead cat bounce on stocks and crypto. Okay, so I'm not super bullish. I'm sure you guys have obviously picked that up. I exited a lot of those long pumps yesterday there as well. And let's just take a look at this chart. So this is BTC on the daily chart. So you can see nice, beautiful rejection. And all we're doing at the moment is rejecting off a major trend. So there's no actual surprises here. We could just got a downtrend in play, and all we're doing is rejecting on trend, and we're playing the trend until it breaks. At some point, these trends do break, but right now we're in a downtrend. So there is a little hint of bull source. Now, those of you that have been watching long enough know exactly what I'm pointing out here at the moment. You can see this is a regular RSI on the daily, and you can see the RSI is trending up. So we've printed a higher low on the RSI on the daily, and that is printing up. And what happened to the price? Well, the price started trending down. So when you see the price trending down and the oscillator trending up, that's often an indication that a big move is around the corner, or a reversal is around the corner. So for me, this is an indication that we might actually hold the 73 to 69 quite well, and then get a very big pump out of BTC. So all is not lost here. You can see when you do print divergence on these things, we tend to, on the daily, get a sustained move over quite a
long period. So we just need to give this thing time. When it does get momentum, it is going to start playing out. But obviously, please God, can they just sort China out? Can we stop giving, what are we on, James? 100 and how much percent? 140% or something ridiculous. And the fish says bull sauce. Okay. So
1,000% tomorrow is what I heard is coming.
that's a banger. Let's
just get it over with. Get it to the max, and then we can start negotiating.
Those Temu underpants are going to get expensive, bro. Very, very expensive. Okay. I see Bitcoin is rolling over a little bit here, a little bit more. Okay, so guys, we're probably going to have a go here. Okay, let's get a scalpy long going. Okay, at around 78, we're going to have a look here, and we're going to see if we can get a scalpy on BTC. Okay, it is a nice area here. Might push a wick a little bit lower, but let's see if we can get a long here on the show. So James, will you just keep an eye there on BTC as we go, and then let's refresh our liquidation heat map here, and let's see where we are. Okay, so it looks like we've wiped everything out to the downside. We've got a couple of drops left here at 78 on the 24 hours. So 78K, that's bang on the 618. And then let's look a little bit lower here. And this looks a bit rough down here. Okay, so 74.8 down to about 73K looks a little bit messy. Okay, so that would obviously take us into this zone down here on BTC if they do push a little bit harder there. Okay, so those are nice levels to watch. Let's see if we get our little bouncy. Now, I did tell hackers earlier today, I said, long way down for BTC if we start breaking this 382, and here we go. So this thing is now busy falling over, and 𝗏𝗏𝗍𝗃 says time to buy undie stocks. Oh yes, undie stocks, that's a good buy. Okay, let's go. And where are we? Yeah, total. This is always a good one. This is the total crypto market cap. Now you can see I often look at total 3 because I'm a Degen altcoin trader, but obviously sometimes it's very good to pay attention to what is going on in the total market here. And total market cap at the moment is sitting on trend support. Okay, so we are literally ball herring right now on this level here. We've got down to about 2.3 trillion at the moment, and we are in the bounce now or cut it off zone. Zenzen, if you're watching, if I can find that that tweet now, then I won't push it by accident. I'll do it on purpose. But I actually specifically moved it. I don't even know where it is now. Oh, there it is. Okay, there. I always get a fright when I see it. Okay, so we're in the bounce now or cut it off region for total market cap. So critical zone here. If we start losing this, look, the S&P is burning, and we are going to be going to some deep and dark levels. That's going to be Bitcoin at 50K. As simple as that. Okay, so let's hope this trend doesn't get too bearish there for us from that front. And then in terms of dominance, remember, this is our guide. We want to know, is Bitcoin more dominant here, or are the altcoins getting favored? What is actually happening? And you can see dominance on the daily. We have rejected quite nicely. And I said here earlier to the hackers guys, I said a wick fill could be bullish for the alts, but short-term pain. So if we do get this little push up here, those alts are going to sweat a little bit, and then we might get a nice sustained bounce for these alts. And hopefully it's going to be higher lows again for some of these altcoins. Remember, there's been a couple of tokens that have really pumped. Even POPCAT woke up and started ripping yesterday. So we're obviously looking for these alts if there is a little bit more of a sweat. Yes, sir.
Did you see Bird Dog yesterday? That absolute shit went up 600%.
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting. Insane. Maybe the memes have another life in them yet. If we could just get a bullish move here.
Guys, let me just remind you. The degens that love memes don't go away. When the market turns bullish, they come back quite aggressively. And I did pick up, I've got POPCAT for you today. But some of these memes, they're going to wake up fast again. So don't be sleeping on them. 600% on Bird Dog. I mean, imagine you're sitting in a little spot position there, just chilling. Yeah. Don't forget about those
FARTCoin.
Memes.
Always FARTCoin. Yesterday was 50-some% yesterday on FARTCoin too. That's the best meme there is right now.
Yeah, FARTCoin is the meme at the moment to trade. They got the most volume. They've got the most interest. I saw some interesting things on FARTCoin. So the FARTCoin is essentially the new POPCAT, basically. So, in terms of trading fun. Okay, so dominance, guys, you've got the situation. Let's go ETH. So yesterday I was saying on the show, this is no good for me because ETH was sitting, at 1,400. I was like, fuck, I need a new one of these. And I even asked James to make me one. But look at this. One of you guys on Twitter was kind enough to make this for me. So I appreciate you, Jez. Thank you, bro. Thank you for my new revised ETH dog shitter, or whatever we call this. And I said I need to use this, and I'm very proud of this. And yes, sir.
It's almost there again. It's going home.
Is ETH going? Oh no, man.
Oh yeah, it's going home.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you when we're longing ETH officially. Okay.
It's almost there.
Guys, ETH versus Bitcoin on the monthly. We are at some dark places here. We are at places in September 2019 when you didn't even know what crypto was. Okay, this is where we're going now. Okay, 0.017. Okay, so that is where we officially need to really be focusing here on BTC. I mean, on some of these altcoins, especially ETH versus Bitcoin. Okay, so we're moving into a big monthly level. We're not there yet. We are nearly there. And at some point, we're going to get the what do we call it? The DCB, the dead cat bounce. Okay, at some point, we are going to get this thing. Okay, we're going to just be patient now. So we're very close there for ETH versus BTC. And oh, fuck me, James. Getting ended here, bro. Getting absolutely ended here on this ETH situation. And what are we here? Yes. Okay, so we're dropping back into 1,380, guys. That's pretty much the zone again. A second visit to that area. And I think if we have to look at this fairly, let's look at this on the 12-hour. Yeah, that's gonna be our support. We're gonna watch this one 1,380 to 1,400. This is our zone, guys. Reminder, the ETH Foundation get liquidated at 1,100. That will be an interesting day. Set your stink bids. I'm telling you now, set your stink bids at like 910. Okay, because if there's a wick and somebody gets liquidated, you're going to have a guard mode ETH entry on a liquidation candle. Okay, so just listen to me. Stink bids down here. Okay, they come and liquidate. They're going to go and send this thing nice and deep. Okay, let's go. Yes, Sol, is it playing according to plan? Yes, 100%. Did we get too bullish yesterday? No, because we took profits and there's a couple of shorts floating around as well. So this was the plan for Sol. So far, so good. Okay, it's pumped back into resistance on the weekly, and now it is falling over a little bit here. Let's see. Here we go. So this is Sol on the 2-hour. And like I was saying earlier on BTC, you can go across the board on your altcoins. Look at those 618s. Very simple, very basic TA coming into play here. Nothing too advanced here. Literally pulling fibs. And the 618s coming into play. Obviously, we want to build as much confluence as possible. But in terms of rejections, got to love that. Okay, guys? So 120 is your resistance zone for Sol right now. In terms of what to do next, well, it's pretty simple. Okay. If we're going to get a move on these things and we're going to stay bullish, you typically want to be getting this buy-in on Sol between 108 and say 106, somewhere in that area. Okay, this is the zone. Now, the reason this is an important zone is, let's not forget, this 110 region is major weekly support. Okay, so if we go back here, you can see we're at major weekly support here. Now we have to close above that. If there's going to be a bullish move, Sol has to close above that. Okay, so in terms of a scalp, in terms of a little pop or a little bounce in the market, if you want the bullish version to come true here, Sol is in a must bounce zone now between 108 and this 106. Now if Sol starts closing under those levels, then this story is playing out. I'm pretty confident we're going to be picking up Sol down here. It's going to start the journey. Okay, so you're going to see a little bit of up, down, but ultimately, I think that close is going to start sending us a little bit lower there, 80 down to 70s, those types of things for Sol. Okay, and Guido, did you like that Tesla, bro? What an absolute banger. Okay, sometimes we got to just wait. We got to wait for these stocks, bro. Just give them a couple of days. When they settle, then we're going to bang out the next ones. Okay, just be patient. And you don't need a FOMO with these stocks. We just wait. And Chris says he's still at Sol on 109. Okay, yeah, so you're pretty much at entry here, guys. If it's going to bounce, this is it. Okay, so we want to get this reaction here. Let's see where we are on BTC. Almost there. We're front running a little bit. Just be patient. You wanted to hit that area. Okay, so 108 to 106, we were saying that's a zone. If we close under this trend, guys, you probably got issues. Okay, so you might get that bullish bounce up, but then things turn bearish again. Remember the process. If you lose a trend, it bounces back up, but you tend to get that bearish rejection, okay, when it does bounce back up. Okay, so caution here, but we are in our bounce zone right now for Sol. And here's a couple of shorts running at the moment on LBank. And you can see I'm in a hype short here as well. This thing, I wanted to give you guys the short on the show. And now it's obviously falling over a little bit too quickly. I've got a FARTCOIN short, I got Hype. I got the Tower short. I dropped in Chart Hackers earlier today. I got GMX from the show yesterday. I'm holding my render long. I thought, let me keep one of them open. And I've got that Bitcoin short running at the moment. So nothing too serious going on. And just trying to nurse this stuff down, try and bank some more profits here. And then we can start moving back into longs. But I want to talk about this GMX because I think I might have been premature with the GMX short. And I'm just going to give you guys this GMX chart again and just explain a little bit to you. Okay, I'm actually going to bank that there. Let's close that Hype short there. Okay, there we go. Banked. You can see just a little reaction there. Okay, let's go. Oh, one more thing. Very important. I actually forgot to tell you guys yesterday. LBank have been kind enough to give me my own private competition again. So that means everybody who watches my show or anybody in Chart Hackers gets a personal invite from me to trade in the LBank competition that is just for my community. What does that mean? You have to be signed up to one of the LBank links in the show description or the LBank link in Chart Hackers. And what this entitles you to is to participate in a competition just for the community. So you might be competing against, say, 100 or 200 or 300 people. Depends how many get involved in the competition. But what is going to happen here is you're going to be able to participate in a top 5 prize pool here. Here we go. Of first trader, $3,000. Second prize, $2,500. Third to fourth prize, $1,500. Fifth prize, $1,000. All you need is $100 to enter the competition. Okay, you're going to have to trade a bit of volume, but you've got 21 days to do it. But your entrance fee is $100, and you will get trading in this competition. Okay, so that is super cool of them. There's 0 KYC on this LBank as well, and let's get cracking. Okay, so I see we've just started now yesterday, and you see it's early doors. Okay, you need $100 to get into this, guys. No KYC. So make sure you sign up for that competition in the show description. Okay, let's talk Tao. So this is a big one, and this has shown a lot of relative strength. So we saw a lot of the tokens pump, obviously, and then we had big rejections, and Tao, funnily enough, was showing relative strength. So I'm actually sitting short Tao at the moment, but I just want to bring you both cases here for you guys. I want to bring both arguments so you can see what is going on. And OX Jeff says, I'm now convinced that Tao might be the best, most consolidated and strongest PVE ecosystem right now. So you can read about his reasoning behind it. But the bottom line is this thing has shown relative strength. We've also seen, funnily enough, things like Render was actually showing quite a lot of strength as well. And in terms of the other price action, it's actually hardly sold off. So if you look at Tara right now, it's just dipped now in that region, and you compare it to something like Sol, that's quite a big sell-off. So just remember, just understand that this is relative strength. But in terms of what I like to look for a short, and in terms of my hot zone indicator that I'm going to show you now, this was a banger region. So had to look at getting stuck into the short, and you can see why. Okay, so I gave a whole plan to the chart hackers this morning. Remember, if you're in hackers, you get these types of trading plans from me during the day, and you will get exposure to all of this stuff. But I said 3% risk here in that region, possible rejection here at good resistance. The 1 hour was showing divergence. Okay, so there were reasons why this thing was potentially going to roll over, and it was just a matter of time. And then I provided backup zones for you guys. So if this thing does pump a little bit higher, your next backup zone is 255 for a potential short. Your next one is 275 for a potential short. But right now, the short zone is 236. And why is this interesting to me? Well, look at this. Okay, we've made some big improvements to the hot zone indicator. Look at that. Can you see that? We've got an eggplant print here. I've got the bear print as well. I've got a P and I've got an E. What does all of this mean? Okay, so these are various combinations for the hot zone indicator that provide confluence. And when you see the eggplant, it's basically telling us, hey, like there's 3 or 4 levels of confluence here, and this thing could give you some kind of reaction. So that is why I try and focus on trades when I see those types of reactions on the hot zone indicator. Now, you guys are saying, what the hell is the hot zone indicator? So basically, this is what it is. It's a program thing of a lot of the tools that I use in trading that we've developed for my accelerator course, obviously, and for hackers. So what is going to happen is everybody who participates in the accelerator course and hackers is going to get a version of the hot zone indicator. And then we obviously have the pro version, which is the Mac Daddy of all this stuff. So that is where Captain Kung Fu says we need the James indicator. Well, it's just going to be bearish, bro. We got to get him out of that. So if you want a piece of the hot zone indicator, do my accelerator course. This is basically going to teach you all those basics of TA, the simple things as well, like those fibs and understanding hot zones, using all the oscillators, all these other things that I do. It's all here in the accelerator course in very short, concise, easy to understand videos. You're going to know exactly what's potting when you are done there. And obviously, while you're in there, come and join us in Chart Hackers for accelerated learning there. Okay, let's get into some alts. I've got setups coming in hot for you guys. I've got so many here. Let's talk PENDLE, coins with the most smart money and fresh money inflow in the last 24 hours. One of them was PENDLE. This is interesting. We know PENDLE is a nice mix between RWA and DeFi as well. It's quite a banger. And Patricio, hello, sir. How are you? And you can see in terms of PENDLE, like, look at this range that we're trading in here. There could be a story to being told here on PENDLE at the moment, but do we believe the story? That's the thing. Is there potentially another move here of 129% on PENDLE if we follow the system of trading a range until it breaks? Well, how are we to decide this is where it breaks or that is where it breaks? But what we're looking at is a range that's giving us 120% potentially to the upside on PENDLE. What I've also picked up here on the weekly is a bullish divergence print here, and we've got the blue dot, we've got the reversal prints. Things are looking a little bit more bullish for PENDLE. So I just want to sprinkle this over here for you guys. There's a lot going on PENDLE at the moment, and in terms of trying to snipe an entry, well, here's a little degen situation for you guys that could potentially play out. So let's just highlight a couple of zones here. And I just want to drop in the 0.5 because it looks like we're going to get some VWAP action here as well. Look at that banger. Okay, so what I'm looking at here at the moment is there's potentially an entry brewing on PENDLE. Where's the high conviction zone? The high conviction zone generally comes when we're getting divergences or reversals on these oscillators. Okay, so we're nearly there. That's what a divergence looks like over there. Look at that nice move on that situation there. And this one actually wrecked us. Look at this. This one ended us. They gave us a little print and then bang. But I think the whole market got wrecked there. But that's effectively what we're looking for. We're looking for these types of moves on these big supports. So right now, you can see PENDLE is sitting on a VWAP at the moment. It's a little bit of a degen play, and it's not sitting on one of my big zones. So for me, with conviction, I'd have to say 3.05 down to 2.91. That for me is the high conviction play on PENDLE. This could be potentially an entry that tees off that type of move. So how does this entry work out? Well, the market gets a bit more bearish over the next couple of days. Maybe things just go sideways, whatever. And then bang, Trump does a deal with China, and some of these other countries are sorting their stuff out. And the market says, okay, cool, rate cuts coming next. Let's rip. Okay, so based on the weekly here for PENDLE, you can see it's trying to tell us that story. So it looks like we're going to hold these lows on PENDLE. And then in terms of a degen play, well, 3.05 to 2.91, guys, that is starting to really look very interesting to me on PENDLE if you're trying to snag a little entry there and try and catch some kind of move. And 𝗵𝗀𝗆 says PENDLE comes up fast, same as 𝗬𝗰. Yeah, PENDLE can rip. Okay, so yeah, I just want to drop this here for you guys. I think big upside here potentially for this guy. Then let's talk POPCAT. So here's Poppies in play. At the moment, this was a big mover yesterday, and just again a highlight. What do we reject at? When you get a strong, when you get a strong pump in the market, okay, it's the same when you're getting a dump in the market. Like, let's not get euphoric. Let's zoom out and say, where can this thing react? Where can this thing reject? And let's be smart about maybe looking for head shorts and things like that along the way. And POPCAT is another perfect example. Look at this, a 382 fib pool, VWAP, bang, okay, horizontals in the way, rejection time for POPCAT. So where's my POPCAT entry? Well, if in terms of a degen play, you can see our 2 hour is still looking to go down. So this thing for me needs a lot more time. Now that might be POPCAT moving sideways, but what I want to see is this 2 hour really start settle down and reversing. And where is that going to happen? Well, the first area for me potentially makes sense is going to be the 0.148 zone. So somewhere in that region to me makes sense. We can call this an inverse head and shoulders if it does come back and do that for us. And that is basically where you're going to be looking for your first entry on POPCAT. Then a little bit lower down, you can highlight the 0.1366, because if they are going to come and end us, they might want to end us properly and wipe a couple of guys out. So 0.1366 is going to be your backup plan there on POPCAT. But watch out here. This makes sense to me. We've got some nice horizontals at play here. This looks pretty decent. Okay, so 0.1476, nibble around there. You want to tie it in with a reversal on the oscillators, and then your backup zone 0.1366 is what you're going to be watching. Okay, so play safe, but POPCAT's nice. Upside targets if it rips. 0.2 makes sense to me. So it's a nice big move if we can catch this. And yeah, guys, obviously these meme coins and things like FARTCOIN, stuff like that, small position, big move, low leverage. Okay, small position, big move, sleep nicely. Okay, don't let one of these POPCATs or one of these FARTCOINs ruin your day. Okay, don't do that. So smaller position, when there's momentum, do those types of things, but just enjoy trading them. They give you big moves, but just don't get rinsed in the process. Okay, here's another banger for you guys, potential mover. So 𝗬𝗎, and here we go. So we're dropping into the pocket right now. We've got VWAP in play. We've got a rising trend. We've got horizontals. We've got our 0.5 fib. That is starting to make sense to us. We just need a little bit more time here. Look at that 2 hour also looking like it just needs to settle. So again, it doesn't have to go all the way down. You might see a situation where they turn it a little bit early. For example, like there, they did it in that case as well. So let's see, monitor that. Let's look at the 1 hour. Let's see what the 1 hour is going to give us. Okay, 1 hour is nearly there. So just keep your eyes on this 1 hour. Let it come down. You're probably going to get some kind of reversal relatively soon on 𝗬𝗎. Okay, so in terms of what we're looking at, let's just confirm these regions. And remember, guys, you're playing safe here. You're using risk management. You're using stop losses, all those things. First zone of interest is 2.06 down to 2. Okay, so remember, what is your risk? 4% risk. Okay, manage your leverage, manage your margin. Don't ape here and put yourself in a dangerous position. Okay, I said preferred bull bounce zone is a preferred bull bounce zone. Okay, this is it. Okay, close below trend is bearish. Remember, if we get like a 2 hour or a 4 hour candle close below this trend, you're probably going to have a situation just like we discussed. I think it was on Sol now, where you drop lower. Look at that. You'll bounce, most likely you'll bounce there at 1.87 or 1.88. Mark that on your charts. Then it will probably push up, and then you're looking at quite a sad situation. Okay, so bounce levels to remain super bullish. Anything down to about 2, play safe here. Anything down to about 2, then bearish bounce zones, 1.88. Okay, watch that, guys. Bearish bounce zones, 1.88. And Glenn says, nice entries. Look, guys, it's about patience. Now, aren't you happy you didn't FOMO up here? Aren't you happy you didn't FOMO up here? Okay, if you were in chart hackers, you would have seen that. Now, again, there's no guarantee that this entry is going to work. But the fact that it's there and we were looking for lower means chart hackers would have saved you money today trying to ape into positions up there. Okay, so just think about it that way. And Glenn says profit taking time. Yes, 100%. And I concur with that. So here's your first bullish entry, guys. You've got the deal. These are going to go into chart hackers directly after the show. For you guys. Okay, let's get some other bangers here. And this was hype. Okay, so you can see I've closed that hype now. And this was the short I wanted to give you on the show. Okay, so we've missed it by 20, 30 minutes now, unfortunately. But this is what I wanted to give you guys. And hype is now falling over. So in terms of possible buy zones, okay, so we saw bearish divergence on the 2 hour here. In terms of possible bounce zones for you guys, now it's about being patient. 12.57. 11.34. Okay, those look like the long zones, the reasonable long zones there to pay attention to. 12.57, 11.34. Look for these dips into these zones. Be patient, nibble around in those areas, but that is making sense to me now at the moment. And then another altcoin, look at this, another alt, guys, 618. Okay, if you want to learn how to do this stuff, please take the accelerator course. It's super simple stuff. You can do that. Come hang out with us in Hackers. You're going to learn even more about this stuff. All right. So very simple TA there, guys. Okay. So where do we get the bounce? 12.57, 11.34 makes the most sense to me. Look for this divergence here. I mean, look for this to play out now to the downside. Let's look for the bounce. Okay. Let's see if we can get it in that area. And then FARTCOIN. Let's talk FARTCOIN. So you saw I was in a small little farty there. And it's not, you can see FARTCOIN, I play small. Look at that. $4,700 versus render. It's 26 versus Bitcoin's 34, and just small position, big move. Okay, so you don't want to sit in FARTCOIN and get rinsed. Okay, it sucks. So where are we now on FARTCOIN? Oh, here we are. Okay, so we know James mentioned just now as well that it's one of the high volume, most volume traded shit coins out there at the moment. So we know there's a good response. So when the market turns bullish, FARTCOIN's almost a banker that you want to jump into to grab a 10-20% move every time things turn bullish. So what can we do now? How do we play this one? So in terms of the next potential bounce zone, I just want to show you guys, if you're looking for another FARTCOIN bounce, okay, the big zone 0.599 makes a bit of sense to me there. That's a 618 from this local low, tied in with horizontals. So I would say let's see how that moves when we get into that zone. You're going to get a much clearer picture as time goes on, because we're going to see what type of reversal we're getting there. So let's just duck into the 1 hour quickly. Let's just see our oscillator. Yeah, you see the oscillator is getting close there. So short term, maybe 1 hour bounce. That 2 hour still looking bearish on a lot of these altcoins. So first big port of call for me, 63 down to 599. Watch that area there, guys. That looks like the best region there for me on FARTCOIN. Then I've got another one here for you. Okay, this is Link, and yeah, so Link was quite a broad area here today that we were looking for, and we're actually moving into the first zone of interest. Now, the downside, as you can see, it's quite a weird trend situation here on Link. Okay, so we don't have a nice trend tie-in, unfortunately, at the moment where we are. But you can see in terms of levels, I've said here, look for a wick into this VWAP. So if you're looking for a little bit of action here, you want to play a little bit in these regions, you can sniff around at 11.5. Just don't go massive here. You can see this could potentially drop all the way down. So 11.5, that makes sense to me. So 11.76 to 11.5, that is zone number one. Then lower down 11.18 down to 10.98. Okay, that is your next region of interest there. Okay, so watch that for Link. If we're going to stay bullish, guys, we're going to get this reversal. You can see it's coming, and it's around the corner here. We're going to get some kind of bounce. What happens after that obviously remains to be seen. You know, it remains to be seen how they're going to do this. Let's see if we need to close a couple more shorts here. We'll leave Tower's good, Render's good, GMX. Oh, fuck, this GMX is a problem. I don't have any cookers here. That's what I was saying to James. I absolutely fumbled the soul short. I totally wrecked it. Okay, I closed it way too early, and I'm a little bit irritated. So, okay, so let's go. Link, you can see, guys, you can see clear the picture here. You can see we're nearly at a reversal time on Link. It's coming, so watch those areas. Let's talk GMX. So here's the thing with GMX. So I might have gone a little bit early on the short. The reason being is GMX is distributing $14 million to whoever is staking the GMX token. Now, that distribution is only happening next week, from what I understand. So you might have an influx of people buying and staking GMX so that they can participate in a share of that $14 million. So what we do know is once it's paid, then I suspect GMX is going to fall over. There's going to be much less buying pressure, and then we should start falling over. So I potentially went in a little bit early, but in terms of the short zones, you can see we are in it now. 13.77 short region and 14.99 short region at the moment. Now, are they going to survive? Is this going to survive a bullish pump? Let's say the news changes out there, China becomes friendly and whatever. Is this going to survive a bullish pump? That's the question you need to ask yourself. So if you are playing this thing, make sure you are protecting yourself with stop losses. Okay, so first area is 14.28. Next area is 15.2. And the next big one, guys, oh, it's big, 17.9. That for me, jeez, if this thing rips up there, that's got to be a banger as well. That's got to be a proper banger here. That wick over there looks fun. Okay, but we deal with that when we need to. Okay, so you can see I'm sitting in the GMX. It's been a struggle. My entry's not even great. You can see it's like it's a mess at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's see what else we got. 𝗏_bar. 𝗏_bar hit my zone, but my alarm didn't go off, guys. I've missed my entry on 𝗏_bar. You can see it pumped straight up into that region that we were looking for. Look at that little double top there. Just missed that alarm on 𝗏_bar. I don't know if anybody got that one, but we waited for this one for 2 days, and we now unfortunately have missed this 𝗏_bar short. So hopefully one or two of you guys got this. I'm going to leave this one in hackers for you. And yeah, good luck. If it does pump into that, it might be one more squeeze into that zone. But those are your short zones for H-bar 179 up to say 1.89. That 0.189. That looks like the best region there for me for an H-bar potential short. Okay. So guys, there you go. I'm not going to flood you with too many more tokens. You've got enough possible entries. You know the deal now. They've got to hold these trends. They've got to hold these 618s. If they close under the 618s, well, number one, you're probably going to get stopped out. And then number two, the market's looking a little bit bearish. So we'll have to tackle that tomorrow. But right now, some of these 𝗏𝗀, 𝗬𝗰, those types of things, Link, they're moving into potential bounce zones. Just play small, nibble. If you get momentum, fire it up. Okay, right now, news is a bit suspicious again at the moment. So yeah, again, like you can see, I'm not aping into things at the moment. But in terms of 𝗏𝗀, 𝗬𝗰, and Link, I'm going to take those trades. The minute we're in those pockets, I'm going to grab some entries there and let's see if they can hold for us into tomorrow. Okay, guys, that was fun as usual. James, thank you, sir. Tomorrow he's bullish.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bullish. Okay.
We'll see.
Guys, watch the news. See you later, guys.